If you clicked on this video, that means you like Black history and you love learning about it and you love actively participating and learning new figures. Black history is more important than ever to keep and consistently learning about new things and new people. Black history will never be silenced. It will never be ignored. So thank you guys for clicking on this video. I'm doing a Black figure every single day of the month, all 28 days of Black History Month. So if you want to learn about every single figure that I'm covering, tune along for the rides. And so without further ado, here's the compilation. Let's get on to the videos.
Passionate. That's it. That's my intro.
It's day 5 of Black History Month, and we're going over Black figures. And today we got none other than the one and only Mae Carol Jemison, who was the first African-American person to ever go to space. So let's talk about her, shall we? Mae Carol Jemison was born October 17, 1956 in Decatur, Alabama. And as a young child, she was very, very smart. She developed a love and admiration for history, science, and even dance. She loved dance. And get this, when she graduated high school, she started studying at Stanford University. That's right. She was making shit happen. And at Stanford, she studied the language of Swahili, and she also studied like African dance and Brazilian dance and stuff of all that. She graduated from Stanford in 1977 with 2 degrees. A Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and a Bachelor of Arts degree in African American Studies. After that, Mae started studying at Cornell University and got her doctorate there. When she graduated from Cornell, she started going all over the world and she was inspired by multiple things. This is what made her join the Peace Corps as a medical officer for Sierra Leone and Liberia. Mae was very inspired by Sally Ride, who was the first American woman to ever go to space in 1981, which inspired Mae to apply for NASA in 1983. Unfortunately, because of her skin color, Mae didn't get in. But you think that was going to stop her? Absolutely not. She kept going and she kept pursuing, and eventually she got in. She was accepted. In fact, Mae was actually one of 15 people chosen out of 2,000 applicants to be a part of NASA. That's right. And on September 12th, 1992, Mae became the first African-American woman to ever go to space at only 36 years old. She was the first one. All white counterparts. That's amazing. And today, Mae is only 68 years old. That's right, she's still alive. So everyone give Mae Carol Jemison her flowers as the first Black woman to ever reach space. She made history. Come on. And don't worry, I do want to talk about Sally Ride when Women's History Month rolls by. Psst, guys, guess what? It's Black History Month, day 5. That's right, it's Black History Month, day 5, and we're going to be covering a new Black figure every single day for the entire month, all 28 days, no stopping. And today we're going to be talking about Bayard Rustin. A lot of people don't know who this is, so let's talk about him. Bayard Rustin was a political rights activist. And guess what? He was also a gay rights activist. That's right. So Bayard Rustin was born March 17, 1912 in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And the thing about Bayard Rustin is that even though he was alongside many other political activists and he was doing work all over the US and Africa, a lot of people don't know about him because of his sexuality. You see, Bayard here, he was gay. And a lot of criticism and discrimination from the Black community led Bayard to basically be in the background of a lot of this movement and stuff. And it's the reason why he isn't talked about a lot, because his sexuality was very controversial at the time. But a little bit more about Bayard. Rustin served on several humanitarian missions to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Haiti during the 1970s and 1980s. In the 1990s, he became a part of the LGBTQ+ movement and an advocate for AIDS education. In 1986, testimony on behalf of New York State's gay rights bill, Rustin stated that gay people are the new barometer for social change. He felt that injustice everywhere should not be tolerated, and he felt that injustice everywhere should not be tolerated and must be protested. He died August 26, 1987 as a result of a perforated appendix. So Bayard Rustin not only trying to fight for Black rights, he was also trying to fight for gay rights as well, believing that people should not be treated horribly and discriminated against because of their race or gender or sexuality. And that's why Bayard Rustin gets day 6's spot of Black History Month. Give it up for Bayard, y'all. It's Black History Month, day 7, so everyone give us a hand for day 7. And I thought, who else to talk about than a guy who is a little similar to Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman is very known, but today we're going to be talking about Robert Smalls, who not only escaped slavery himself, but he also, helped others escape as well. So let's talk about him if you don't know who he is. So on April 5th, 1839, Robert Smalls was born and enslaved in Beaufort, South Carolina. And at the age of 12, at the request of his mother, Robert Smalls was sent off to work, and he did various jobs and learned various tasks. And this is how he learned to work with like ships and on the shore and stuff, because he did a lot of stuff having to do with ships, everything having to do with the sea. So fast forward a little bit to 1861, we're at the beginning of the Civil War outbreak. And Robert Smalls here, he's working on a ship with other enslaved people and, white people and stuff like that. But you see, this is where Robert's, his instincts start to kick in, right? He starts to devise a plan. Over this Civil War and all of this happening, all the enslaved crew, they're coming up with a plan to escape. And since they have a ship, that was their way, right? So on May 12th, 1862, all the white crew members left the ship, leaving Robert and the other enslaved crew members there. That's when they decided to leave, right? So around 3 a.m., they gathered everything they needed and they went ashore. And because Robert, he's been working with sea and ships for a long time now, he's pretty experienced with like sailing the seas. And Robert and the crew members were all married at the time. So before they did this, enacted the plan, they communicated with their wives and their family members and told them what they were going to do and a place to meet up, right? So they all met up at this wharf where the crew and Robert's family members were, and they picked them up. And so they were all on the ship sailing to become free. So when they picked up their family members, Robert knew exactly what he needed to do, and he sailed, he passed the Confederate forces and everything, and he was able to make everyone safe, and they became free. But the thing about it is that the ship that they were on, it was called the Planter, and it was kind of like wanted, I guess. Like they didn't know where it was, and it had so many guns and stuff on it. They really needed that ship back. It was worth a lot of money. So after Robert became free, he returned the ship and he got awarded prize money for it. Him and the crew members, they got awarded prize money for it. And because of all of this, Abraham Lincoln seen this, and he declared him a hero for his known efforts and his bravery. And together, this inspired Abraham Lincoln to, well, obviously, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. If you didn't know that, that's what happened. But this also inspired Abraham Lincoln to allow Black people to enlist in the services. So after this, Robert Smalls ended up serving a lot of time in the Navy. And like I said, he was known as a hero. And he eventually ended up buying the same house that his masters lived in. He bought their mansion with all the money he made, the prize money, the service money, everything. He bought that mansion. And that's where he resided with his wife and his 4 children until he passed away February 23rd, 1915, in that beautiful mansion. And guys, I want to end this off by saying Robert Smalls till this day is still not forgotten, because in South Carolina, they have Robert Smalls Day every May 18th where they celebrate him and all of his accomplishments. So Robert Smalls, you will never be forgotten. I'm glad they celebrate him in South Carolina, and that's the story of him. Happy Black History Month, Day 7. Wake it up, everyone. It's Day 8 of Black History Month, which means we finally made it through a full-on week of Black History Month. Everyone give Black History Month a hand. Woo! Give us a hand. Come on. And in honor of the first week of Black History Month, I thought it was perfect to talk about someone who has really been beneficial for the Black community and has paved a big way for everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Mary Jane McLeod Bethune, or Mary Bethune as we're going to call her. And Mary Bethune, despite being the daughter of enslaved parents, she became one of the biggest and most beneficial Black and civil rights and women's rights leaders of the 20th century. So if you don't know who she is, come on, let's talk about her together. So Mary Bethune was born July 10, 1875, near Maysville, South Carolina. After she graduated, she decided to become an educator in South Carolina, and she went to different churches preaching and being a teacher. And her going around being a teacher and preaching, that's what led her to meet her husband, and they got married and had a child. But the marriage didn't last, and in 1904 they divorced. But this isn't going to stop Mary from like supporting her child and caring for him. So what she decided to do was open a school for black girls because she felt that that was the next best, like the next biggest step in her career, basically. Mary opened a boarding school in Daytona Beach called the Literary and Industrial Training School for Negro girls. And because it was an all-girls school, it didn't allow any guys. But later on, that school merged with the all-male Cookman School, and it became the Bethune-Cookman Institute, and it started issuing its first degrees in 1943. But Mary was not stopping there with that, okay? She had big plans on her mind. And another big thing she did was lead a voter registration for women. When women began the right to vote in 1920, she led a voter registration despite risking like racist attacks. She wanted women to band together and, help the right to vote. She wanted women to band together and use their right to vote. In 1924, Mary Bethune was elected the president of the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs. And then in 1935, she was elected the president of the National Council of Negro Women. So I guess you can say she was standing on business. And along her journey with doing this, Mary befriended First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. And when 1936 rolled around, President Franklin Roosevelt named Mary the head director of the Negro Affairs, which made Mary become the highest ranking black woman in government. And while she was the head of these different organizations and these councils, she would hold meetings that basically where she would get these people together and organize ways to help stop the discrimination of black people and help stop the lynching of black people and especially black kids. Mary stayed in her position of director of Negro Affairs all the way until 1944, but she was also the vice president of the NAACP, and she remained in that position all the way until she died. Another thing Mary did was she also wrote for the African American newspapers, like weekly. Mary was honored with many awards throughout her career in her lifetime, but some of her biggest awards was she got a memorial statue in 1974 and a postage stamp in 1985. And when Mary passed away May 18th, 1955, her final residence in Daytona Beach is now in a historic site to visit. And something I thought was really cool finding is that Mary is still not forgotten to this day. Just in July 13th, 2022, she got another memorial statue. That's right. Just in 2022, Mary Bethune became the first black woman to ever be represented by a state statue and was placed in the National Statuary Hall at the U.S. Capitol. Just in 2022. Like, that was not that long ago. It was 3 years ago. So friends, that's the story of Mary Jane McLeod Bethune. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys, if you didn't know who she was, I hope you learned something from this video. And yeah, there's more to come. So happy Black History Month, day 8.
Don't forget to subscribe. That's it. That's my outro.